Okay, so here's your second video. So we're going to start with number 2. We have 10 x to the 4th plus 2x to the 3rd. Okay, so we find the greatest common factor of 2 and 10, and we know it's 2. There are 2 terms, so we're going to start with 2. Then we're going to divide 10 by 2 to get 5. And I also missed the x's for my greatest common factor, so let me go back. So they're going to share 3 x's, so this would be x to the 3rd. Okay, I divided 10 by 2 to get 5. Now I have to subtract x to the 4th and x to the 3rd. That's going to leave x to the 1st. And then I'm going to divide 2 times 2 is 1. Then I subtract x to the 3rd minus x to the 3rd would be x to the 0. Okay, now notice something. If I didn't put a 1 here, let's just say I ignored the 2 divided by 2, and I just put x to the 3rd and x to the 3rd as x0 is 1, I would still get the same result. Okay, so you don't have to necessarily put 2x to the 0. In the end, you're going to have to simplify anyway, so it's up to you how you do that. This is your solution. 2x to the 3rd parentheses 5x plus 1. Okay, so let me do one with a negative, and then that will be a wrap. Okay. All right, so let's look at number 9. Well, actually, yeah, number 9. We'll look at number 9. No, I want to do 8 instead. Okay, we'll do 8. So 8 says negative v to the 4th negative 5v squared. Okay, so let's look at the coefficients. This one has a 1, this one has a 5, so they don't share anything, so we put a 1. Okay, then we look and we say, okay, well, this has a v to the 4 and v squared, so they share v squared, so 1v squared. And then we're going to say there's 2 terms. Now here's where you need to be careful. If you noticed, that's a negative and that's a negative, so you didn't pull them out, so you need to leave them in your answer. So that's going to be negative. Okay, so you would say negative 1 divided by 1 is negative 1. Okay, and then you would say v to the 4th minus v squared is v squared. All right, now let's do 5. Negative 5 divided by 1 is negative 5. V squared minus v squared is v to the 0. Okay, and the last thing is to simplify. So 1 times v squared would be v squared, negative v squared, negative 5 on the inside. Now the one thing I haven't been doing is checking, so let's check to make sure that this matches my original problem. If I distribute, so v squared minus v squared would be minus v to the 4th. Check. V squared minus 5 would be minus 5v squared. Check. They both match, so that means I did it right. One thing here, guys, is you don't have to leave the negatives in there. You can pull them out. Some people prefer that. And if you do it, then this is what that would look like. So we had 1v to the 4th minus 5v squared. We know that the common factor is 1v squared. Now, if I wanted to say, well, they share a negative 1, that's fine. You can pull that negative out. But if you pull the negative out, then you have to change the signs inside of the terms. Okay? So here, in other words, negative 1 divided by negative 1 would now be a positive v squared. Okay? Negative by a negative would be a positive 1v to the 0. And this would come out to negative v squared plus 1. Okay, now let's check it to see if it matches. Negative v and v would be negative v to the 4th. That's right. Negative times a positive would be positive 1, and I'm missing my 5. Oh, sorry, over here. See, that's why it's important to check. So this would be minus v squared divided by, or minus 5v squared, which would match here. So again, if you choose to take the negative out and put it in front of the coefficient, that's okay, but then the signs inside for each term would also change. So it's up to you how you do it. Both answers are correct. Okay guys, so we're getting really close. We actually only have a couple more videos and we're done.